Hey YouTube, this is Tom at TM Aquatics and I hope everyone's doing great. It's been a couple of months since I uploaded my last video here on the YouTube platform. To be honest, I just needed to take a break from pretty much all social media. But time has come, it's time for an update, and I do want to give everybody a tour of this 35 fish tank fish room. We've made a lot of changes. We have some new fish breeding for us here in the fish room. We've had a couple losses. We've also picked up some new stuff. So I do hope you stick around and check this out. All right, YouTube, we have 35 tanks, so if we're gonna get done in any decent amount of time, we need to be quick about it, not spend too much time on any given tank. This is a 75-gallon tank out in the rec room where I have my school of Corydoras, the pink tetras, or the red laser tetras, I like to call them. I also have a group of a dozen, or is there 12 or 15 Corydoras sucis in here. But they have not gotten used to the traffic out here. They're very shy fish, always hiding, only come out when it's time to eat. I would have thought they'd get a little more comfortable by now, but they haven't. But this is a 75-gallon tank out in the rec room, and everything is going well inside this tank. All right, over here, also out in the rec room, this is a 120-gallon tank. This is a 5-foot long, 120-gallon. This is where I have my chameleon whiptails. And there's a total of 10 of them in this tank. But since my last video, I've also added a group of 16 leopard frog plecos. These are F1s that I grew out from last year's breeding season. And they get along with the whiptails, no issues. I might add a couple more leopard frog plecos. I have plenty here in the fish room. I was thinking maybe adding a few, we'll see. But we have 10 chameleon whiptails, 16 L134 leopard frog plecos in this tank, and 1 male bushy-nosed pleco. How about if we go ahead and feed the whiptails real quick so you can see how cool these fish really are. All right, we've dropped a little bit of Ebo Aquaristic seafood in there. And here come the whiptails. And as you can see, they are getting big. They've grown quite a bit since the last time I had them in a video. They're about 5 inches right now, growing fast, growing much faster than most of the plecos grow. But they're doing great, and probably one of my top 3 fish in my fish room currently that I personally like. Those are the chameleon whiptails, Pseudohemiodon apathanos. They're not the true chameleon whiptails, these are the Peruvian version. But a fantastic fish. All right, back here in the fish room, down here in this 29, I have 2 different groups of Corydoras. I have Corydoras cycri. I also, I think there's 5 cycri. There is 1 Atropersonatus that looks very similar to the cycri, just has a rounded snout, and it is a different lineage. And then I do have 8 Corydoras venezuelanus. And I'll be moving the 8 venezuelanus to a different tank here in the very, very near future. Up above here in this 20 long, I have a bunch of rainbow fish. These are dwarf neon rainbow fish, or praecox rainbows. But this is where I have my group of Corydoras duplicarius. And these are still growing out. They would be considered teenagers at this point. I started out with 10. I did lose one. So I have 9 in there right now. These actually came from my brother's fish room where he's breeding these by the hundreds. Corydoras duplicarius, beautiful fish. Up here, this is where I'm keeping my group of L260 Queen Arabesque Plecos. We had a tragedy here in the fish room a few weeks ago and had a nitrite spike, and I lost a lot of L260s, which was very unfortunate. We had 5 adult survivors, 2 males, 3 females, and you can see they've been quite busy. We have a new batch of fry. These are L260s. And right now as we speak, the dominant male has another female trapped in this cave here. So we have more on the way. And this was quite surprising because they hadn't been spawning much in the 40 breeder that they were kept in. And then we had again that tragedy, and I'm not sure what caused the nitrite spike, but it happened. It got past me and cost a few fish their lives, which is very, very unfortunate. These guys just hatched yesterday, so they are 1 day old. There's about 16 to 20 in there. L260. Over here, nothing going on with the zebra plecos. They're getting bigger, they're growing. I'm just not sure I have any males. I think I have a lot of females, which is not a bad problem to have. Males usually cost a lot less, and I need to actually pull them out and confirm their sex here pretty soon. And if I don't have any males, then I need to source one. This one here could be a male, I'm not sure, but they're all doing really, really good. Down here, the leopard frog plecos, haven't got any more fry out of them. The male that's the dominant breeding male in here keeps eating the eggs. He just spawned a couple days ago and ate the eggs again before I had a chance to pull them. And that's one of the reasons why I've started more L134 leopard frog pleco groups. In fact, I now have 3 colonies of L134s. I just need more production out of these fish, and as long as that male keeps eating the eggs, I'm not going to get a lot of fry out of this particular group. So we do have the 16 L134s out in the rec room in that 120 gallon tank. And you'll see here in a couple moments I have another group of 8 L134s and a 40 breeder. Down here, this tank, this is where I keep my L333s. And they have not spawned for me, and that's an issue because they should have spawned by now, and they haven't. So been doing a lot of water changes on this tank. Haven't seen any breeding activity. I do have some youngsters in here that I picked up, and they're still growing out, but if they don't start breeding for me within the next year, I'm going to dump this group and just use this for a grow out tank for either plecos or Corydoras, because I need more grow out space. Let's keep moving. Over here we have 5 20 gallon tanks. These are all on auto water change with our tap water, which is pretty much liquid rock. In here, nothing really going on, a lot of mulm. Michael at Michael's Fish Room would love this tank with all that mulm in here. Just a bunch of bushy nose plecos growing out. Same thing over here, probably another 150 or so bushy nose. These are, all the bushy nose in my fish room are blue-eyed lemons or super reds. These 2 tanks are all blue-eyed lemons. I do have a few swordtails in here. My son had to move. He had a fish tank, and these were in his fish tank. And he hasn't set it back up. He doesn't get his new place until August 3rd. So I am fish sitting these for him. But as you can see, the females are very, very gravid. They've been spawning for me. You can see there's a little swordtail fry there. There's like a dozen of them in this tank that I've pulled out. We have some green lasers here that are still growing out, like 1-inch green lasers. I'm selling those on getgills.com. There's a couple more swordfish fry. We also have a bunch of super reds in this tank. Over here, this is empty. We have 1 adult male Lamprologus ocellatus gold. And he created a mutiny in my breeding tank. He had a brother that he was very good buds with, and they weren't breeding at all. They were just kind of hanging out, and one day he turned on his brother. He bit out his brother's eyes, both of them, and then he killed a female, and then he cornered the breeding male that I had that has been a very, very productive male. So that guy is quarantined here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with him. He's a great looking fish, better looking than the male that's breeding for me, but he's not productive, so doesn't really do me much. Over here, this tank, just a bunch of endlers. We have a few plecos in there. Really need to dump this tank and do a restart on it because I need it for grow outs. All right, over here we have 7 10-gallon tanks. In this tank here, we have a bunch of L134s. Let me get a flashlight, it'll make it much easier to see. All right, we have a bunch of L134s back here. And I am selling a few of these. They're not on Get Gills. If you're interested, reach out to me. But with that being said, if you're not willing to pay for overnight shipping, don't even bother contacting me. I will not ship these in a 2-day environment. They will only ship overnight, and it's in the fish's best interest. And if you're not willing to pay for the shipping service that's in the fish's best interest, then I'm not willing to sell them to you. In here we still have a bunch of L134s and a bunch of L260 Queen Arabesque Pleco fry. There's a total of 16 L260s in here. I'm not sure how many L134s are still in this tank. I've moved a bunch out into a grow out tank. This tank here, nothing but some bushy nose, just keeping the biological filter going. In here we have some new fish I picked up quite a while ago, and I'm not sure how well you can see them. This tank, I need to clean the filter. It's having a hard time staying clean. But these are Corydoras bozemanii. And there's, I think, 12 in here. 10 or 12, I forget how many I bought. But they've been growing really nice. Corydoras bozemanii, fantastic fish. Would like to get them moved into a much better tank. They're outgrowing this 10-gallon tank. And yeah, we need to do something different with them. Over here in this tank, we have a bunch of Ocellatus gold shell dweller fry. There's like 22, 24, 26, something like that. These guys are not ready for sale. They've got quite a while to go, a couple months anyways, well, at least another month. But they're doing fantastic. Next to them, we have a bunch more rainbow fish, Praecox rainbow fish. Not sure why I raised these out, because they're really not worth much. Probably don't even cover the cost it takes to that I put into them to grow them out. But Praecox rainbow fish, they're available on Get Gills. I think I'm selling them for like $2 or $3 a piece. Over here, these are daisy blue rice fish. Again, not a fish that I really focus on here in the fish room. These are a bunch of fry that I'm growing out. Down here in this 40 breeder, this is where I have my Corydoras Necklace. I forget how many I have, to be honest. There's somewhere between 16 to 20 in here. And these are all wild caught. These came from Phil over at Tamed Waters. They're doing great. The females are really healthy, really fat. I've not had any breeding. I've tried a number of things to try to induce spawning. Just hasn't worked out. So we're just going to let them do their thing on their own time, and hopefully someday we'll get a spawn out of them. Over in this tank here, another 40 breeder. This is where I have my CW49s, the black diamond Corydoras. They have been spawning for me, but we have fertility issues in here. Most of the eggs go bad. I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 out of probably 40 eggs hatch. And out of those 7 or so that hatched, we only have one fry, one juvenile, and there he is. You can see him down in there. Let's see if we get a better look. Whoop. But he's in there. That's one fry that I've gotten out of this group, and I say it's a fertility issue because I'll touch on that in just a second, but I'm just happy to get at least one fry out of them, and now we have to figure out how we can increase our survival rate out of the other very few fry that have been hatching. Down here in this 40 breeder, I have more fish from my son that I'm fish sitting. Some tiger barbs, a group of 7, very active, pretty cool fish. And then I do have 8 more L134s that I've hand selected to start yet another group of leopard frog plecos in here. And then I moved my 8 L236 into this tank that I picked up from Cataclysm. They're the basic L236. They're not really good specimens. I might actually get rid of them so I can dedicate this tank just for L134s. We'll see. I have somebody that might be interested in buying these. I'm not sure, but anyways, L236 and L134. There's one of the 236. And there's an L134 in the cave. The L236 are a black and white high pan citrus, by the way. Over here in this 10-gallon grow out, just a bunch more blue-eyed lemon bushy-nosed plecos. In this tank here, we have another 12.5 or so Lamprologus ocellatus. These are sellable size. I do have some listed on the Get Deals website. And then this tank here is currently empty. I'm getting it ready to put an egg tumbler in there and hopefully pull some Pleco eggs, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Over here on this rack, we have 2 20 longs on the top. On the left tank, that's where I have my Corydoras axelrodi. They're pretty shy. Yeah, they're not going to come out. And then my last shrimp tank that I have up here, that's where I have my golden-back yellow neocaridina's. The front glass is really covered in algae, but golden-back yellows, that colony really took a hit. I was down to maybe 10 shrimp, and now it's rebounded. There's probably 100 in there again. They're doing good. Here is my cyanobacteria-filled 40 breeder with my Ocellatus gold shell dwellers. You can see there's another fry box up here with another 20 plus fry. And then I have 1 male and 6 females down here in the breeding tank. Here's a male and a female over here. And again, no fry, no spawns yet down here in this tank because we just had that mutiny and that incident with the other male Ocellatus gold here this past week. This guy here was very productive with a couple of females, and all the fry that you've seen in this video came from him, and 2 females. Actually, most of them came from 1 female, and I think she was the female the other male killed, which is really, really unfortunate. But hopefully they start producing again because they just started pumping out the fry, and then this happened. But over here in this 20 gallon, this is where I have 4 Honeycomb Catfish. I have 2 males, 2 females. They have spawned for me. I've not made any attempts to successfully hatch out the eggs yet, but that is something I'd like to do. They are a cute little fish, very active, but very, very nocturnal. But we have 4 honeycombs, 2 males, 2 females. Down here, this is a tank that I'm going to be converting over for the Corydoras venezuelanus. I did have my surviving tangerine tiger shrimp in here. And then I had my blue dreams, and there's not too many shrimp left in here. But I'm in the process of getting this torn down, setting this back up for Corydoras. Over here in this tank, this is where I keep my Corydoras green lasers. They have not spawned for me in a very, very, very long time. So I think what the issue was, a lot of fry were growing out in this tank to where I had probably 50 green lasers and they stopped spawning. So I recently tore it down and removed a bunch, so we're back to pretty much the original number of breeders in here. Been feeding them blackworms, bloodworms, and really trying to condition them. Just need to increase the water changes a little bit. Hopefully we can entice the adults to start spawning again, because they have been a good seller. They're a very popular Corydoras. Everybody likes the green lasers. But yeah, I'd like to get these guys going again. But anyways, that's what we have going on over on this rack. All right, down below my workbench here, this is a grow out tank. I have probably 30 L134 leopard frog plecos in here. These are small, anywhere from 1.25 inches up to maybe 1 inch or up to 2 inches. There's one of the larger ones there. Underneath there's a couple smaller ones. A couple bushy nosed plecos in here for grow out as well. This tank is on an auto water change system as well, and this actually pulls in RO water from my RO reservoir. But like I said, there's a bunch of L134s in here, maybe 30, maybe fewer. More than 20, maybe less than 30, somewhere in there. Lost track. Up here we have a bunch of koi angelfish fry. And this is something different here for TM Aquatics because I don't really focus on angelfish, but I thought it'd be fun to grow out a batch or two of koi angels. And the koi angels are down here in my L397 tank, and these are actually my son's fish as well. I'm fish sitting these, and I figured as long as I'm fish sitting, I just will raise out a couple batches, hand select a few to keep, try and get some with a little more high coverage. Nice looking fish, just your basic koi angels though. But he was fortunate enough to have a male and a female, and been conditioning them for a couple months now, and they started spawning. In fact, this here is their very, very first spawn, so not bad for beginners. I did pull the eggs once they spawned, put them in this container with a little bit of methylene blue, a little air stone, and a heater at about 79 degrees. And out of the 300 plus eggs, I think maybe less than a dozen actually were bad. Up here in this tank, there's my platinum pearl scale angels. We have our L494s. We have our Sultan Plecos. Nothing's been spawning in here. We're getting close though. I'm seeing some breeding behaviors from some fish time to time, but nothing has been spawning yet. I do want to mention down here in this tank where I have my 397s, they've been spawning for me. Unfortunately, I have not got any eggs out of them yet. The male, the primary male that's been spawning has been eating the eggs, and I don't want to shine over here in this cave. In this one here, I have the another male that has a female trapped right now, and in this cave on the right, the alpha male is in there, and he is fanning another clutch of eggs that are 1 or 2 days old, and I'm thinking about pulling them, dropping an egg tumbler in that 5-gallon tank, see if we can get some L397s. But anyways, by my count, that's 35 tanks plus a plastic tub. So I think we're probably going to wrap this up. All right, YouTube, well, time got away from us. This one got a little long again, but it's hard to go through 35 tanks and keep it short. But we do have some other things going on. Pleco Ceramics sent me a recent package. I'm going to be doing an unboxing video for some Pleco Ceramics product here in the very, very near future. We're going to focus a little bit more on some of the breeding going on here in the fish room in an upcoming video, so do check back. In any case, I do appreciate each and every one of you stopping by my YouTube channel and taking time out of your day to watch one of my videos. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Hit the like button on your way out. Post any comments or questions down below. And like always, until the next one, we'll catch you all later.